Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 7 of budget crafting. Today I'm going to show you how I make my own homemade little postage stamps, and I like to make them on rolls of like calculator tape. It's just paper tape. It's not the kind that's like if you heat it up it turns black like from the stores. But this is just an older type tape. You can find these a lot of times all over the place at different thrift stores. You'll find them there because people really don't use them much anymore. But this is just kind of what they look like. This one, I tried putting a little like 17 cents on there. I don't even know if you can see it. But I had a stamp that would kind of do that, one of those little like roller stamps. But it doesn't work very good. The stamp itself doesn't work really good. So, but I do like the way that they turn out. And I normally just do them in sets of 4. I don't really know exactly why. But these birds are like in sets of 3. The bottles are 4. These ones here are just stickers. The others are cut out of magazines, or they're, this one here is wallpaper. These are stickers, and this is a magazine and a magazine. And the thing is that these make really cool stamps. And yet, like when you look at the picture, this was like a tablecloth on a table in a magazine. And I just think that looks so cool, especially that lovely lacy look. And, then just some abstracts. And I just go ahead and I make a template so that I know what size to cut these out. And then I go through the magazines and I choose which ones that I want to use. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this off so we can do a few on here. But if you don't, and the thing is, you're going to make your template square of just a little bit smaller than your tape, because your tape might not be the same size as mine. So this right here is 1.5 inches wide. So I made my template 1 5/16, which is just a little bit over the little line after 1/4 inch. And so that left me with just a little bit left over at the top and at the bottom of each stamp, because I didn't want a whole bunch left over. So let's say you have a 2-inch one, you might want to make yours like 1 and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 eighths. Something like that, just make it a little bit smaller, your template, just a little smaller than the width of your tape, and then make it square. So whatever you're going to make it this way, make it this way too, and you wind up with a square stamp. Now, sometimes those rolls are really big, but wouldn't it be kind of cool to have like a really big postage stamp? I think it might be really kind of cool. I don't think I have any of that right now, but I'm going to have to keep my eyes open. So what I did here is I just measured 1 5/8 and drew a line here, and then 1 5/8 this way, and technically that's the width of my ruler. So I just lined my ruler up on the flat side of my cardboard and just drew a line on both sides, and then I just lined it up over here and drew a line on both sides and got myself a square. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to cut that out with an X-Acto knife or something that you can cut it with. This is a heavy piece of cardboard that I had left over from our last journaling on a budget series where we were making a board, a writing board. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, and I'm going to carefully, now here I'm going to tell you this. Okay, so here's my square. I'm going to extend those lines all the way around, because what I want to do is I want to know where I need to stop. And if you look at this, if I were to line this up right here, and I wanted to do this line, I don't know where that line is under there. It's underneath my ruler. So, but up here, see, you can see where I've extended it. Now I can see, I know that as I'm cutting along the ruler, I need to stop right there. And so that's why you extend the line, so that you can see where it is that you want to stop your cutting at and start too. So I am just going to cut from that line to that line. And take your time. you know, try and really get your stopping point at your stopping point, and, you know, just get kind of a nice clean cut, because this template can be used for a really long time. So, you just want to take your time so that you have a really nice template to use when you're doing this. Now, I didn't have a cutting board here, so a nice hard cover of a book that you're not going to use for something works very well as a cutting surface, so that you're not cutting into your table or desktop. So I'm just going to, again, cut from that line to that line. And a lot of times I just like to try and make, just a few cuts so that I kind of know it goes through. Normally I have to go back in and kind of redo the actual corner, but I don't want to slip and really cut across it. And I also just want a nice straight line. It doesn't drag as much if you make a few swipes versus trying to push really hard and doing it all at once. So we'll just, and if it winds up not being perfectly square, still try it and see how it works, because more than likely it'll be just fine. So things don't have to be totally perfect. You know, when you're doing something like this, if you're making a template or you're making some kind of a jig, you want those to be pretty close. You want to really kind of take your time, because that's something you'll use over and over. I'm not sure if I'm catching the book now, or here we go. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over and look at the other side, and I'm going to see that I need to get the corner here. And I'm just going to kind of come along that line. It did drag quite a bit on this cardboard. I've got to do this corner. Probably my knife is not a good sharp knife. Would be the perfect thing to use for this. Mine, I think, is a little dull. I can tell by the way it kind of ratted up my cardboard, see? So that really makes a difference. And with these knives, if you have a pair of pliers, you can change your blade by just snapping this blade off. You need to be very careful when you do that. But they have little marks where they're supposed to break, right on there. And I normally put a pair of pliers on the side that I'm keeping and the side that I'm breaking off. I normally don't just use one pair of pliers, because I find that they really do kind of snap. Let's see, I don't have two pliers, but I do have a pliers and a cutter. And I do need to change this. I'm going to show you how I do it, but be very careful. You know, maybe watch another video, or make sure you know what you're doing before you do it. You know, blades bother me, mostly because I cut myself a lot. Now, the line goes on an angle like that, and I'm not 100% sure how well you can see that, but the line is right there. So I'm going to take the edge of this blade, and I'm going to, or the edge of my pliers, and I'm going to put it right on there, right next to the line. Well, I need to hold it with my left hand and break it with my right, because I'm right-handed. So, okay, I'm going to put that right on there, just like that. Hold on to it nice and tight. Make sure that I'm not on the line. Then you just take another pair of pliers, or that's what I do, and I just break it off. That's how it's supposed to work. Looks like it worked very well. Now probably it will cut better. Okay, I'm going to set this right here for just a second, and I'm going to cut this off. Now, I have a very close space here, so that if I'm working in a magazine or a book or whatever, I can get right up next to the spine, you know, as I'm trying to find my pictures. But I also like a bigger one. It's just easier to hold onto it as you're drawing, and also it lets you write maybe your sizes, especially if you make more than one and you want to know which one is which size. So let's see how this works now. Really nice, really smooth. So I should have done that before I made my template. Okay, so let's see. Now we've got, and I still have my blade here. We're stuck here in the corner. You don't want to rip that out. You do want to go in there and cut that corner, because you want a really nice corner there. You're going to use this to trace inside of over and over, so you want it to start out nicely. Now you can take an emery board, which I don't, oh yeah, maybe I do. Got one right here. You can take an emery board, and that will help file off those little extra fuzzies so that they're not making a difference as you're trying to draw your square, or as you're trying to hold it down on your paper and they're holding it away from the paper. So I'm just gonna get that off of there, wind up with a nice little template that I can use for a really long time. The one that I started with, I still use, and that was quite a long time ago. So here we go. This is, got a little bit of a mess right here, so I'm going to take that off too. This is our template to make the pictures on our stamps. Okay, so put your blade away, and whenever I cut a blade, I always wrap it in a lot of paper. And what I'm going to do is, now I could use this square for something else. It'd make a really cute tile or something. But I'm going to open this up a little bit, kind of get to the middle layers of it, and I'm going to stick that blade inside of here. Then I'm going to wrap it in a piece of paper. Let me just stick it in there. Because you don't want to put it in your garbage can and then reach in your garbage can maybe when you're emptying it and you're pushing the bag together or something. You don't want that to cut you. So I'm just going to come into my magazine and find a page that I don't see. No, there's a page. Don't really see anything I have to have on there. And then I am going to just crumple it all up. And maybe I'll even take and stick a piece of masking tape around it. Whenever you throw, you don't throw blades away that often. Whenever you throw them away, or broken glass or anything, this is how I do it. Because I'm just afraid that somebody else isn't going to know it's there. Or by the time I empty my garbage out, I'm not going to remember it's there a week from now. So there we go. Now it's inside there. It's not gonna hurt me. And I didn't squeeze that real hard either, because you wouldn't want to squeeze it too hard and have it cut you. Okay, so now let's say you don't have a reel of the register tape. Well, you can just make your own stamps. And so what I did here was I drew lines. This is just exactly the same width as my tape, so that I could use my same template. And that is 1.5 inches, I believe. Yep, 1.5 inches. So I just went ahead and I drew a bunch of lines. I drew them lightly because I really don't want them showing up on the edge of my stamp. So when I cut them off, I can erase them when I'm done, or I can just cut on it, but it's not going to be this really big, bold line. But if you wanted a bold line, you could draw that as a bold line and draw around the edge of your paper as a bold line, and then you would have a bold line all the way around. So now to make our stamps, all we do is we just take a magazine or a book, and we just go through it. Now, you might have something that you want to put in, but you want a backing color. So see, you could do something like this as a backing color. Not looking at any of that. That looks kind of cool. And then maybe you have like a little flower sticker, but you don't want the flower sticker to be your stamp. And so you just go ahead and just grab 4 of these. And they all have a little bit of different hues, but they all match. And that's the cool part about it, is I usually do a little set, because when you go through these pages, you can normally find things, at least 4 spaces that you would like to put on there. Now these little light bulbs are kind of cute, but they don't quite fit. And if I can get it, it kind of is overlapping with, like, the other one sticking out. I don't care for that, so I don't need it. I can cut those out for something else and cut them out individually and put them on a package. And these are kind of cool. So see, you could do those and just cut those out. And the way that I do it is I just sit in the evening. It's another chair craft. Just sit in the evening and just go ahead decide where I want it and draw around it. And let's see, I want to make sure that they fit. This one fit. And see, that's a nice thing about having the template, is because then you know if they fit or if they don't fit. I think this one fits the best. And then what I normally do is I just rip that page out and set it aside, and I'll do 2 or 3 different pages. And then after I do them, I do have to say, what do I do with my template now? I do like eyes. I think eyes are really cool. To some people, that's very creepy. But I like it. And animal eyes, too. Or little animal faces. See, isn't that cute? That would be really cute on the stamp. If you were doing a cat book, that would be so cute. You could just find a couple different ones. Now, see here, this is a bra. Well, who wants a bra? Well, you know what? Look, that's really quite cute. I really like that pattern. Would look nice in a black and white book. And some things you can tell what they are. Like I did some that were peaches. You could tell they were peaches. But, you know, a lot of them. And this one, I can go up high enough to get all lace, but this one I'm going to pick up a little bit of the black. I'm going to do the same over here. Now, the reason that we have a small space here is in case I want, let's say I wanted to get this right on the edge. See, I can kind of slide that over and really get close to the edge. Whereas if you've got it like this all the way around, you're not getting over there at all. And then you're trying to hold it down here. The magazine's in the way, you know, and you're trying to get it and you're trying to hold it down. You're bending. So that's why you have one small side. The roses are really pretty. You could go through and do some of those. And you can pick them like very large where it's very kind of abstract, or you can do the smaller ones where they're the centerpiece and there's a little bit of flower around the edges. And one more. Let's do a big abstract one. And so that's how you make your template and how you get your pictures for your stamps. And then you just cut them out. Now this one is really hard to see. I'm having a really hard time seeing it. So I'm wondering, I can actually see it better on the back of the page. So I'm going to cut it from the back, because in that print, it just gets lost. Okay. And then we're going to cut all 4 of those out, but let's see how it looks as a stamp. So I'm just going to do one of each right this second. This one I can see. You probably can't see it on camera, but I'm going to wind up getting both of these at the same time because they were right on top of each other. If you use a pen, it shows up better. If you use a pencil, it leaves a very light line. I like the pencil better because it doesn't show up as much after you glue it on your page. So I'm going to set that aside so I can cut those out later too. And we'll do just one of these. And I do just kind of cut the line off just a little bit, especially on something that's this light. Okay, so you can also use books which is why this was out here, so that I could cut on it, but also so that I could take my template and choose something out of the book. I'm not going to cut any more out, but look. Now, you have to remember, you kind of take all the rest of this away, and it looks really cool. So, you know, and that's the nice thing about having the template, is you can see exactly what you're looking at instead of just guessing, will that look good or won't it look good? Exactly where do I want to cut it? So, you know, you could get 4 there. You know, you could get like this one and this one. You know, now you could not get her and the baby on 2 separate stamps, but you could kind of get them together there. So, so that's how we get the focal point for our stamps. And then if you have just regular paper, you're just going to put them on the regular paper. And if you have a roll of the tape, then you just put them on there. And I just kind of line it up, leaving about as much on the edge as there is at the top and the bottom, like that. Then when you go to do your next one, you have to remember that it's a stamp, so both of them are going to need an edge here. You'll need an edge on this side of this one and on this side of this one. So you need to leave twice as much space. You need to leave enough gap so that you have about this much and this much down the middle, so that when you cut it out, you have the white border all the way around. So we'll just do one more of these. And I'm going to throw this one, because I've got 2 of them already cut out. I'm going to throw it on here. And again, leaving a little border there. And you don't have to leave it rolled up like that. You can unroll it and stick it like that. I'm going to really quick do the last one. And remember, leave enough so that I've got a border, enough border for each one. There. Now you've got your stamps. Now what I do on my reel is I just find something kind of soft, like a magazine works. And I use my ruler because, to me, I just have a hard time getting a straight line. I put that one on there crooked already. And so it just, to me, I like the line to be straight. This comes from the sewing department, and I don't think they're really expensive. And I've got all of mine. I have some from my mother, and then I've gotten quite a few of them from just garage sales and thrift stores and that type of thing. Just look in their crafty sewing section or whatever, and a lot of times you'll find a bag full of just miscellaneous, and it'll have one of these in there. And so then you just take that and you just run it across there, and it leaves the little perforated lines like a stamp. And after I do mine, I go through and I put that little perforated line on there all the way across, just because I think it looks, I think it looks fun. So there we've got, and it rips really easy. You saw me rip that one off of here. So, and see, you know, there's a little tiny little jag right there, which you get those sometimes on stamps, but the rest of it looked really well. So you can do it on a roll, or you can do it on your paper. And even when you do it on your paper, you just do the same thing. And because, you know, this is a piece of paper, and you're going to go, well, yeah, but I'm not going to have a bumpy edge here. You're not. I don't anyways. But you don't need one. You don't have a bumpy edge on this one either, except at each end. And if you have a roll of stamps, they're only perforated at the ends. They're not perforated all the way around. So I'm just going to go right there. And then so that I can see, I'm going to go on this side of it and just go right there. And then what I would do is I would just cut out this whole line And then there would be my line of stamps. You could leave the whole thing on the paper, you know, and just put them on there and leave them there. I like to take them off. To me, it's easier to put the perforations on if I take them off. But, and then you just fold it, and then you can just peel them apart. So I really have fun making these, and they're really great. You can stick them on tags. You can do all sorts of things with them, and they're just really fun. I was going to leave this on the roll, but I'm going to take it off just because. See how easy that is? Once you get that little perforated line in there, it works out really well. So there we go. Now we have our own little full postage stamps. And if you want to put a little 2 cents on there, or 25 cents, or I don't even know how much they are these days, like 55, I think. You know, you can just go ahead and, you know, put a little dollar amount on there. You can use your cancellation stamps and cancel it out. So, you know, there's just all sorts of fun things that you can do with them. You can stick them on a postcard, a homemade postcard, to use as a journaling card. So anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I really have fun making these, and I hope if you make some, you have a good time with making them too. Thank you very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate you, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.